show of hands, this is going to be an interesting one. Who has ever sat on a toilet? Everybody poops, guys. Come on. So before we get started, actually, I need to do something. So I'm going to pick one of you guys. You. What's your name? Jay. Awesome. Heads or tails? Okay, we'll come back to that a little bit later on. Well, you want to know what it is now, don't you? For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jonny Bradley, and I could stand up here, boost my own ego, and talk about how credible I am and all that sort of stuff, but today I really want to let you know that the things and the strategies that you're going to learn have been influential in some of the results you're about to see from some of the people, some of my clients. Just like Jansen, who went from 0 to 30K in revenue on Amazon with one product in his first 6 months selling on Amazon. There was Emilian, who went from 0 to 68,000 in sales. This was also from one product. You can see down here, I do 800,000 a year with one product, and that's not even considering being out of stock. And he says there, 250,000 pounds in net profit, which is absolutely ridiculous. And there's many, many more which we could go on to talk about. But what I want to let you know is the strategies you're going to learn today work really, really well. The reason I'm up on this stage is my goal is to help ordinary people create extraordinary things, just one product at a time. And the reason behind this is a lot of my background, I worked at Apple. So you guys might have iPhones in your pockets. That's Apple. And I did a lot of jobs there. One of the ones that was one of my most favorite was a trainer. So I used to facilitate training for sales team, for leadership, for technical trainers. And that got me some really great behind the scenes access to how Apple manage the customer journey from the point where they're sending out their marketing messages, the words that they're saying, to the point where they're unboxing their first product. And even there's a team of people that are literally there, the unboxing team, that make sure that when you lift the box off the iPhone table, it takes 7 seconds for it to come down and the iPhone to be presented to you. They go into a huge amount of detail. And that's kind of what I was conditioned into believing, is that's how you should operate your business. I then started selling on Amazon, and there was something that wasn't just quite sitting right with me, because everyone out there online, many of you might have done this, you've gone onto YouTube and you've tried to find out, maybe how to find products, how to start a brand, how to start white labeling. And I was met with pretty much the same thing all the time, of find something with high sales, low reviews, stick a label on it, and sell it. And I did that, and whilst it kind of works, it wasn't sitting right with me. So what I decided to do was take influence from someone at Apple. And this is Jonny Ive. He was the Chief Design Officer at Apple, and he said, what we make testifies who we are. People can sense care and can sense carelessness. And this is just the pure feeling that if something arrives at your door and it arrives in like a brown jiffy bag, there's no product packaging, there's no real care and attention gone into it, you have a sense of, or you can feel the carelessness that's gone into it. So I started implementing these things, and I started sharing it as well, and the results that people started getting was incredible, where they could get those sorts of results from their first products that they've ever launched without having a company. So what we're going to learn today, that's what we're here for, so that's enough talking about me. Actually, I'm probably going to talk about myself quite a lot. But there's two things that we're going to learn today. There's first something called the complete solution, and this is how to fully understand your customers, serve them to the highest levels, and create irresistible product offers. The next is customer verification, and this is how to scientifically predict if your offer is going to resonate with your customer before ever spending a penny on it. So if you have pens and paper, you got phones out, take pictures. Some of these slides have got a lot on it. You might have to zoom in. And if you do see me knocking around after the event, feel free to ask me any questions and approach me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. Is everyone okay with that? Is everyone excited to learn these things? We're going to see some nodding heads, which is good. Cool. So the first strategy, the complete solution. Let's have a little look at this. So when I went to a college when I was about 16. It was called the Institute of Contemporary Music Performance. Quite a mouthful, but it's where I went to learn how to play guitar, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a musician. And I did a songwriting course. And the first thing the guy came up, it was kind of probably like if this was a room, kind of about that size. The lecturer came up on the stage, and he said, if you want to write a best-selling hit, write the chorus, and the verses write themselves. Because once you have that hook, once you have that reason for that person to listen to the song, everything else falls into place, and you can create a #1 hit. And that's kind of what the complete solution is, right? Because there's two parts of the complete solution: potential customer needs which is why is the customer triggered to buy? And the other one is potential customer solutions, which is what solves their needs. What solution solves their needs? So if you think of this like your chorus and your hook, and the rest of your business, your branding, whatever it is, everything else makes your business is the rest of the song is the verses. Everything else will fall into place once you nail this thing, the complete solution. So why did I start talking about the complete solution? Right, so any idea what these two products have in common? Not a lot, right? The reason I put these two on screen is I got an email a few weeks ago from someone that saw one of my videos or whatever. And they said, I'm looking to sell a kids' football on Amazon, but to stand out, I'm going to bundle it with the TV remote. Right? And I got this email, I'm like, was this a joke? What is this? But the rationale behind it was that if you're an adult and you're buying a kid's ball or a ball for your kids, then you also have a TV, which means you need a remote. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Obviously, I shut them. Who thinks that's a ridiculous idea? Just put your hands up. Yeah, like everyone should have their hands up, by the way. Obviously, that doesn't work. And you'd be surprised how many times people reach out to me with things like this. I had a frying pan and a Superman apron. And I was like, it doesn't make sense. Maybe a frying pan with a spatula would make a little bit more sense, but a Superman apron makes zero sense. And the reason why I think people sometimes create these kind of weird mismatches of products is empathy. Okay, what it really comes down to is empathy. And what you're about to learn, the reason why it works is once you understand your customers, you can empathize with their needs. Right? Once you really understand them, you can get yourself into their shoes. Right? Once you empathize with their needs, you can understand their desired solution. So once you're in their shoes, you can understand what they're trying to get towards. What do they want? And once you understand their desired solution, you can create the complete solution. Once you know what they want, then you can give that to them. So the first thing we have to understand before we go into this, and we start, I've got exercises that you can do at home, is you need to understand what is a buying trigger. Okay, so a trigger is an event that causes a buyer to have a clear need, which usually converts into a sense of purpose and urgency in their buying process. Right, and there's normally about 5 or so triggers that are really, really important. So we're going to go through each one of these now. First one is away from pain, towards pleasure, desired outcomes, undesirable outcomes, and there's something called buyer's belief. Okay, you might have heard of these before. So I'm going to give you some examples. Away from pain. Right, so this just refers to the problem that a customer faces about that product, or hopefully thinking that product or service will resolve it. So I bought a cat fountain recently. I'm not sure if any of you got cats and you have a cat fountain, but my cats like drinking from cat fountains. And you might think, well, you're not trying to get away from any pain. But if you really think about it, if you truly empathize with the customer, then you'll understand that customers may forget to fill up their cat's water bowl so that they go thirsty. Or your cat might want to only drink from a running tap, which is many cats want to do that. So again, you don't want to keep the tap running all day, or you're just worried that the water quality in the water bowl is getting dirty. And these are actually pain points which you might not appreciate until you really put yourself in the customer's shoes. The next one is towards pleasure. So Sigmund Freud actually coined this statement, the pleasure principle, where people will generally pursue pleasure and or avoid pain, if at all possible, okay? So a fat-burning supplement, and we could probably do all of these for CBD. I know everyone's here for that, but if you're trying to get towards pleasure, you might want a quick and easy way to burn more fat, right? You might want to lose weight and feel better about yourself, or you just want to look good on your next holiday. You want the pleasure of having that feeling. Desired outcomes are a little bit more broad, so the away from pain, they might be, or towards pleasure, they might be really, really small details, but a desired outcome is the overarching thing that person wants. So for an ab roller, you know those little things that you put on the ground and you roll out like that? Then you want to have good abs, or you want to tone your stomach, or get abs without going to the gym. But equally, you can have undesirable outcomes as well. So you don't want it to have no effect. You don't want to buy the product and it not work. Or you don't want to have to spend more money on the gym, or just not know how to use it. Imagine if you get the product delivered and you look at it and you're like, I don't know how to use this. That's an undesirable outcome. And we need to understand that as business owners and people that are creating these brands and creating these products. The last one really ties it all together. So buyer's belief is the expectation that the buyer has about the product, if it's going to work or if it's not. This is fluid. This isn't something tangible. So if they think the product's going to work for them, they will buy it. If they believe it's not going to work for them, they won't buy it. It's as simple as that. And it's our job as the business owner and as the brand to help convince buyers and let them believe that our product is going to work for them. Okay? And then we do that through our marketing, through our images, by having a good product. So how do we do this? The first thing we need to do is engage your super fast subconscious brain. So there's a book called The Business Idea Factory. I'd highly recommend you guys going and Business Idea Factory, but the author's name, Andre something or other. Find it on Amazon, it'll be about £5 or £7 or so. Go and read the book because it talks about this, and this is where I got this from. So your super fast subconscious brain, show of hands, this is going to be an interesting one. Who has ever sat on a toilet? Everybody poops, guys, come on. I'll see these hands. Now, keep your hand up, right? If you've had an idea come to you when you've been doing a mundane task, right? In the shower, doing the washing up. And you'd be like, oh my God, that's where I left my keys. Or, oh, that's the answer to that question. You wake up from a dream, you're like, yes, I've got the answers to the life, the universe, and everything. Right? This is because your subconscious brain is working in the background thousands of times faster than your conscious brain. Your conscious brain is thinking about what to eat for lunch, whereas your subconscious brain is working on the problems throughout your daily life. And we need to teach your subconscious brain to work on the problem of how to create an incredible offer for your business. Okay? So how do we do this? Right, this is an exercise that you can do. This is something that I do all the time. So step 1 is get a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle of the piece of paper. Step 2 is on the left-hand side, think about all those buying triggers that we just went through and start coming up with ideas, coming up with triggers as why your customers are going to buy your product or your potential product. Once you get to about 10 or 20, you might think, I've done a good job, I've come up with 20, I'm going to go do it now. What I want you to do at that point is take a break and at least half an hour or a day and just get away from it, go and do something else, and then come back to that list later and write 10 more. Have a break and come back to it later and do 15 more. And just do it again and again and again and again. Because what this is going to do is going to tell your subconscious, hey, this is a problem that I need you to work on. And then at one point throughout the day, you'll be doing a very mundane, boring task, and you'll be like, oh my God, that was it. That was the one. So the second side of the piece of paper or another piece of paper, or if you're environmentally friendly, not a piece of paper, is where you're going to optimize that list. And you're going to get it down to about 5 to 10 potential issues or potential problems, okay? And all you're going to do is get a piece of paper and just put it to the side, right? You're not going to do anything with it just yet because we need to go on to the next section. So we looked at that. Can you see that? There we go. We can see that. So the next thing we need to look at is what solutions solve their need. So I'm going to talk to you about something I had called Vu Jardin. Does anyone know what this is at all? Does anyone know what it is backwards? Yeah, déjà vu, right? So Vu Jardin is when you see the same thing again and again and again and again, but suddenly you see it in a different perspective, from a different light. So once you get your subconscious doing this, you can start working on these solutions. So I'll tell you a story about how I started one of my brands called Hydrofuel. And I was coming up with this issue. All my problems that customers had were, getting dehydration headaches, wanting to clear up their skin, not remembering how to hydrate. And I was like, how can we solve these problems? And I'm not sure if you've seen those bottles where they have, time to drink up on the side, 3 a.m. I'm sorry if you sell these, but they don't work, okay? The reason they don't work is you need to be looking at the product to be able to remember to drink from it. However, if you're not looking at it, you won't remember. But once you look at it, then it defeats the purpose of anything being on the bottle because you're looking at it, which means you don't need reminding anymore. So I was thinking about this, and I was like, this doesn't solve the problem for the customer. It's definitely a problem, but this doesn't solve it. And I was doing something that I do quite a lot. I just go for breakfast at a cafe around the corner from my house, and I was thinking, what solutions were going to solve these needs? And then I got a notification on my phone. And then I had that Vu Jardin moment where I was like, I immediately picked up my phone out of my pocket, and I looked at the notification. I was like, oh my God, this is how we do it. We're going to send notifications to people to remind them how to hydrate. So it's a free app that we developed that we sell with a pretty basic water bottle. It's a plastic water bottle. And we're able to do some incredible things with that because as soon as you create a different offer for a customer, something that solves their problem to a higher level than your competitors, you can do things like this. So you can sell the same product to someone else, but you can sell it for more money. It's the same product, but it's a different offer. And you might think, oh my God, an application must cost so much money to make. They cost a bit of money, for sure. But if you divide it by how many units you're selling, maybe over a year or over 2 years, it becomes insignificant. I'm not saying go and start an app, go and do digital stuff, but you have to find the solution that fully solves the customer's problem. So how do you do that, right? Well, you've seen this exercise, have you? Yeah. So you do exactly the same thing, but instead of coming up with potential customer needs, you come up with potential customer solutions. You keep coming back to it, and you keep coming back, you keep coming back, you keep coming back, until your subconscious is working on it. So when you're at a coffee shop, you're taking a shower, you're doing the dishes, you're suddenly going to get a solution that's going to solve the need and allow you to stand out and sell your product for more money and actually get better customers as well. So, we've done our complete solution. What I need you to do at that point is create 3 variations of that solution. This is really important that you don't pick one of them. You have to create variations. So you can say, well, one variation A is going to be this, 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 and this. And variation B, this is this, and this, and so on. We're then going to conduct customer verification experiments. You might be thinking, what the hell is that? And after that, you're going to pick a winner. So this is the next strategy, customer verification, how to scientifically predict if your offer will resonate with a customer before ever spending a penny on it. So, show of hands, anyone who went to school? Okay, everyone went to school. Now keep your hands up, guys. Keep your hands up if you did science in school. Keep your hands up if you ever did any experiments where you had to plot the results on a graph. Keep your hands up if you had to put a line through that graph and then some anomalies, but it's a line of best fit, right? We know this, right? It's scientific. So I started to approach building my offer as an experiment. And something interesting happens. So we're going to come back to this in a minute. But the first thing we need to understand is something called the law of large numbers. Okay, you might have heard of this, you might understand it. But this is why experiments work. Okay? So the law of large numbers is a theory that describes the result of performing the same experiment a large number of times. The average of the results will be close to the expected value and will become closer the more times you repeat the experiment. So I asked you to flip, well, I asked you heads or tails earlier. You said heads, right? It was heads. Congratulations. It was good. You did a good job. If I asked you again, I'm going to flip it again, and you say heads and it lands on heads, which it did, then out of 2 flips, it landed heads 100% of the time. But we know that there's a 50-50 chance. So is there an anomaly there? There's an anomaly, right? One of them is potentially wrong. But how do we know? If we've never flipped a coin before, how do we know? The only way we would be able to tell is if we did it 100 times or 1,000 times, because the more times we actually do the experiment, the better the results get, the closer to the expected value of 50-50 that they get. So, why the hell am I telling you this? Every business makes money because of the law of large numbers. Every business. Okay? If you can predict a customer's actions, you can predict how successful your business will be. And this starts with creating an irresistible product offer. So how do you know if you've got the right offer? So, if you go and ask one friend or your mum or dad or something like that, hey, which one would you buy, A, B, or C? You've got your 3 offers, right? Your 3 different variations, A, B, or C. And they say, I'm going to pick option B. And you go, yeah, good thinking. I like option B. Let's go sell option B. And you go and think, and you go do all the work. You get it imported from China. You do all your branding. But what if you'd asked a further 9 people? Because that person that said option B could have been the anomaly that we just had with the coin flip, right? And the 9 further people say option A is the best. You'd be thinking, oh my God, I'm so glad I asked more people, because remember, the more times you complete an experiment, the better the results will actually get. So, a very, very simple experiment you can do. Step 1, find your target customer. So, for example, if they're musicians, then you might find musicians, or you might go into Facebook groups where there's people talking about music technology and stuff like that. Just go and find your customers. If that's in a gym, if that's out on the street, doesn't matter. Go and find them. Market research. Show them the 3 offers, A, B, and C, and just ask them to pick which one they would prefer. It's very, very simple. You might see this sometimes. People do it with logos all the time. They say, which logo do you like the best? And they get some really good feedback. Step 2, ask them, why did you choose that option? The reason we're doing this is we want to understand the customer. Remember, we talked about empathy earlier. We need to understand the customer. So we want to know why they picked that option, but equally, why they didn't pick the other options. Step 3, note it down. You don't want to forget it. Definitely note it down. And then the 4th step, and the most important step, is conduct the experiment multiple times to let the law of large numbers do its work. After that, you're going to have a whole bunch of data. Right? This data is going to be invaluable to the success of your business. So, what have we learned today? We've learned the complete solution, how to fully understand your customers, serve them to the highest levels, and create irresistible product offers. And finally, customer verification, how to scientifically predict if your offer will resonate with the customer before ever spending a penny on it. So I'm going to leave you with one statement. I've gone quickly through this. I'm still going to end it. People buy offers, not products. Thank you very much. I've been Jonny Bradley. Anytime you need me, if I'm around, come ask me questions. Thank you very much.